Kaspa family, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. As always, appreciate your support, day in, day out. Cannot thank you guys enough. But yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at what's happening with Casper right now, and of course, what we could be expecting going into Wednesday morning. Looking across the board, a lot of green. So far so good, because over the last 1 week, you are starting to see a lot of coins picking up traction. As mentioned in my H-bar update, meme coins really gaining a lot of traction, but you are seeing a lot of excitement. But right now, even though we are seeing a lot of excitement within the crypto markets, you're still seeing, Kaspa not on the list in terms of, the big gainers. You can see, it is up again. It's not that, we're not seeing Kaspa reacting in a positive way. It is reacting in a positive way, which again is something that, we shouldn't be ignoring. And you got to give credit where it belongs, as I've said to you guys before in the last few updates. And, it goes back to what I've been saying pretty much since last August, when we noticed that bearish pattern playing out, within Kaspa's charts. Since then, I was talking about, how, we could see more downside, and that actually did end up happening. But even though, that did not make a lot of people happy, you guys know I bring you guys unbiased updates. If the price of a certain coin is looking bearish, I'm not going to come and sit here and just sugarcoat things for no reason. But in reality, as you can see, if you've been following the channel, you guys know that, recently I've been saying, Kaspa has been showing strength. And, as of now, even though we're not seeing maybe 10-15% increase within its price, it's still showing significant amount of strength, based off of, the technical analysis aspect. So we're going to obviously, touch a little bit more on that. But before we get into it, as always, just a quick disclaimer for everyone. Anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So the price of Casper right now is at 7.8 cents. It's up 1.1% in USD. We're down 1.1% in Bitcoin comparative. Market cap holding above 2 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at 37.4 million. And I know a lot of people are going to point out the fact that you're not seeing the 24-hour trading volume increasing. And again, guys, it kind of goes unsaid because of the fact that you're not seeing, number one, a lot of retail interest right now compared to what we have seen in the past. Number two, obviously, liquidity, right? Liquidity is not there at the level, you could expect once you do have big centralized exchanges on board. Obviously, that's not the case. And, this is where some people might not be happy. Some people are still, kind of skeptical, whether or not, they want to add, Casper within their portfolios. But again, this is where your risk management comes into play. But as of now, as far as the price of this token is concerned, we're seeing positive moves regardless of not, seeing 10-15%. But with that said, let's kind of analyze and take a look at what's happening with the price. Of course, let me shift to the hourly time frame. You can see this for yourself. BTC dominance is currently sitting at 61.49%. So obviously, in a grand scheme of things, as I've said to you guys, day in, day out, obviously it's really high still in order for us, talk about an altcoin season. But the fact that, it's still ranging around 61.5% compared to, where we were just a few days back, it's obviously a nice thing. BTC, on the other hand, is seeing some nice price action, which of course is always nice to see. You can see this for yourself. We actually went up to the likes of $88,000 two different times, and we're seeing this breakout once again. So BTC is in this upwards trend. I've shared this with you guys. I've indicated this so far that pretty much since that CME gap, BTC has been in this upwards trend, and as of now, we haven't lost this upwards trajectory. So so far so good. You got to give credit where it belongs. But 23.6 is a level that I would love to see BTC at, which of course I think could potentially mean we start heading towards the upside, and that only is about a 5% move from where we currently are. With that said, let's take a look at what's happening with Kaspa right now. So if you're looking at Kaspa's price, as I've stated, you're looking at Kaspa holding much, much better than, what we have seen in the past. Believe it or not, we are still in this upward trajectory, something very, very similar to, BTC here. You're noticing something very, very interesting playing out right now. This is something I don't want you guys ignoring here. Let me kind of draw a trend line for you guys, because, visuals make, people understand better. And of course, sometimes, it can be confusing when you're reading the charts of the candles. So let me kind of draw this trend line for you guys to, make you realize what's really happening. So pretty much since, first and foremost, let's kind of take a look at, where the price was on the 10th of March. We were sitting at about 5.5 cents. We spoke about, 5 cents, the chances of us retesting it. A lot of people were saying, Crypto ZX, there's no way, we could come to this. And here we have it, we almost retested 5 cents. So I would say, pretty much nailed that target. anyhow, if you're looking at it from that 5.5 cents price point, you did see Kaspa make a recovery about 50%, and that itself is not a small move, guys. But you're noticing we're finding a little bit of a hard time breaking out of a certain level. And when I put it in this perspective, you will understand it so much better. You could see this for yourself. It all makes sense. You could see retest back on the 15th. We saw a rejection. Retest yet again on the 20th. Again in a rejection. And just 2 days ago, not even 2 days ago, we saw another retest right at the neckline. Right exactly at the neckline. What is this showing you guys? What does this mean? This tells you that this is a significant zone for us to be looking out for. Because if we break out of this range, we speak about confirmation on my channel quite a bit. This is that confirmation in my opinion. And breaking out of here means to me that we are heading towards that blue zone. Of course, right now that's not the case. Again, if you want to put this into perspective in terms of how much of a move that would be, it's a 20% move from where we currently are. But if we're able to break out of this key range, I do believe that upside could be in play. And of course, if Bitcoin starts heading more towards the upwards side, starts heading towards the 23.6, and hopefully dominance starts pulling down, I really do believe Kaspa could make its way back into this range and start heading up to even the 11.2 cents, which of course would be quite exciting to see. But I've been seeing a lot of comments that you guys are leaving. A lot of people comment that Kaspa is their long-term holding. Of course, obviously you got to realize that every coin has a risk factor associated to it. This is again where your due diligence research comes into play. But there's a lot of people based off of what I see from my comments think they're in for the long haul. They're not here for just even this bull market. They're here for the next 3, 4, 10 maybe years. And again, let me know in the comments down below your personal timeline. So of course, if you've done your due diligence research and have invested where you can afford to lose in that specific case, then patience is your number one key to follow, because you will see swings. You will see 60-70% drops even in a bull market. But that's where your patience really comes into play. As long as you don't sell, then you have not lost. But of course, there's always a chance that the coins don't recover, because I can name thousands of coins, believe it or not, from last cycles, and I've been in this market for almost next year marks 10 years in the crypto space, which again is really scary to see how fast time has gone by, because it literally feels like yesterday. And I honestly have seen almost everything. I've seen coins that were so hot, everyone was talking about certain coins that they never made it back. They're just completely vanished, because no one really cares. And obviously the projects really didn't deliver as what they promised to do. And of course that's the risk factor that every coin has. So this is where your risk strategy comes into play. But who knows? Because look, and I've shared a very good example. Look at Mantra DAO. Mantra DAO is such a perfect example out of thousands of coins out there. It's a perfect example because me myself, and I've seen my fair share of a lot of different. Phantom is another one, but Mantra DAO is a specific project because this project originally had the hype factor late bull market of the 2021 level, around there, 2020, 2021, around there. Mantra DAO was kind of popping off. And then what happened was obviously the bear market, people forgot about it. But people that were accumulating and, obviously understood that, this could be the next big thing. And obviously we're dollar cost averaging in, investing what they can afford to lose. And, look what Mantra DAO has been able to do. And, those people that were accumulating in that bear market became multi-millionaires. And I know some of them. So again, this just goes to show, patience is number one key to follow. You're not going to become a millionaire overnight, and no one is guaranteed, millionaire. Let's get that out of the way. I know this is a hard pill to swallow for some people, but it's the reality, right? But let me know down below what you guys think. What are your personal, opinion on Casper? Where do you see Casper going? And of course, what makes you think, that Casper could get to levels like, Solana, XRP, etc., etc. Let me know down below. Love you all. See you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.